Hello, hi, and welcome to another episode of Holy Tissues. And I'm here with my good friend and co host, Dimitri Katzman.
And I'm here with my friend Mew Hopkins.
We're here today to talk about American Hustle with Christian Bale, Bradley Cooper, and who else do we have on our Residux here? We have Jennifer Lawrence and Amy Adams. That's right, directed by David O. Russell. So here we are.
Russell.
Oh, Russell. You're so amazing when you make Christian Bale a big fat bald guy. Yeah, pretty good job. We open with a giant fat stomach and a balding Christian Bale trying to get his comb over just right. And,
And that actually characterizes the whole movie. That scene,
it does. That's a very good way of
like a
putting it.
mess of a thing that they're trying
It's
to make
emblematic.
smooth.
It is emblematic of everything we're about to expect in American Hustle, including just a sense of cliche, a sense of put on, a sense of make believe that comes off sort of more as a comedy, really, than a drama as it sort of pretends to be. It sort of masquerades, much like the characters, as drama when really they seem like a bunch of silly jokesters that really I think almost anybody should have been able to see through if you watch it. And if they're trying to portray convincing con men, I think that it seemed a little bit like they missed the mark a bit. They didn't fool me, they didn't con me. So that makes me sort of curious, who do they think they were conning? And did anybody really get conned in this situation? Or are they all just conning themselves? I don't know.
Well, they sure conned the Oscar committee. They were successful there.
They were very successful at conning the Oscar committee, and that's why we're here to tear this film,
New one.
a new toupee. We start off with Christian Bale, and they're showing his past and his history with voiceover, which is always a bad sign in general. It can be a bad sign depending on how strong the voice is. In this case, the voice was that of a very cliched representation of a Jewish man by Christian Bale. I just think, they tried this with Moses, making him Moses, and they tried this with American Hustle, and I just don't think he plays a convincing Jewish character. This movie, and this character, he made it feel very cliche. It was a cliched performance, a cliched put on, in a sense. And they all look like they're having a good laugh about it, but I'm not sure that it was really David O. Russell is partially to blame for this, I think, by not reining in his actors. They're all having too much fun on set. They all look like they're having fun playing dress up, but they're not taking their own story seriously. It looked more like a big gas than it did a series of performances.
Like Ocean 12.
Yeah, exactly. It felt like
Just
an Ocean's
a bunch
12.
of friends hanging out.
Exactly right.
The biggest problem was Christian Bale. First of all, the character itself seems like not a real person. It just, the way he acts and what he's supposed to represent,
Yes.
it just doesn't fit together. He behaves like this uncomfortable and sick and scared loser.
Yeah.
But somehow he's also a hustler who can fool other people.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
if you have a guy like this who approaches you, you would never believe him. He looks completely sleazy.
He does, yeah. And that's the problem with this
And
movie.
he's supposed to be the best,
Yeah.
right? That's the reason the FBI is working with him, which is another... It sounds pretty ridiculous to me that FBI will trust this person on anything.
Well, that makes me wonder, though, how much research Christian Bale really did for this character, and whether or not he was told to just have fun with it, just do what you can do and have fun with the character, rather than given rigid parameters as to what he should be doing and what he should not be doing. And
So
con
he
men,
had too much freedom.
way too much freedom, and I think that they all just had too much fun as a result. I think they had a big laugh, and if I was a producer of this film, I would have been completely pissed off at how unserious the directing was and how unserious it all sort of felt. I mean, just the way the narration worked and the way that it was filmed, like it was Casino or something.
Yeah, you
It
could
had
feel
this
the parody of Scorsese in
You,
this movie.
it was very clear, and at the same time, it was only over the course of like maybe a few months. I don't even know if this whole event doesn't look like it took more than a year or two. Like it was setting up one con.
I feel like really the director tried to recreate that Scorsese atmosphere of like a perfect mix of drama, thriller, and comedy, right?
Right.
But Scorsese, he's really a good, like he's jonglering these parts
Oh yeah, there's no
easily.
there is no comparison. We can't even talk about these two directors in the same breath. Almost this is just day and night. I think we just recently spoke about Jennifer Lawrence's performance. What did you think about her in the role that she was in, playing the wife, the disaster cakes, disaster baby?
I could see the point that it feels like she's overacting a little bit, but I really liked her performance.
Did you like her
It's-
performance or just her looks?
I don't know. She made me really entertained, and I laughed from her crazy behavior and
Okay.
all the shenanigans that she pulled through.
Shenanigans. So you bought her shenanigans. You thought they were pretty well done. You liked the comedy aspect. Again,
I felt like she was walking the fine line of getting over the top, but I feel
So-
like she managed it.
so she wasn't comic relief. Was she comic relief in this movie? There's a lot of comic relief in this movie. Even the serious points are comic relief when they're not even intending to be. But do you think she intentionally was trying to be comic relief, or you said she walked the fine line? So maybe that's a fair statement then. She walked the fine line. She played comedy. She played the serious character. She got herself over.
I think she was a funny sociopath.
Funny sociopath. Okay.
Sociopath.
Yes, I think that was most well demonstrated in the ending we saw, where she basically threatened to have her husband killed, which then later she claimed was to squeeze another great plan or idea out of him. That's a very cynical, sort of humorous way of looking at it, like the ends justifying the means, or the means justifying the ends sort of logic.
And she played it dumb, but you could really see that she really tried to get her husband killed.
Yeah.
By doing all this.
She did, and I think he cheated on her with Amy Adams, and I don't know though. Like, is that enough rationalization for murder? I mean, that seems a little bit
Too much.
sociopathic. You're right, as you might say, but it seemed a bit much. I wonder if that's how it really happened in real life. So, what did you make of the use of music in this film? I found that there were pieces from all over the place, going in every direction, trying to give a sense of the time, but I didn't feel a single song added or contributed to the drama of the story or the plot. I found that they were just kind of background music, sort of passing time, rather than adding anything interesting or dynamic to the
The
structure.
only thing is the 70s feel, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And there was some kind of like, with this music and with the style and the way they look, it seems like it's a drug movie.
Yes, you're
But
right. But there was no
there's
drugs.
only one scene where Bradley Cooper does cocaine, but it felt almost like it's
An
there by
add-on.
accident.
Yeah, by accident. It was an add-on, almost like they, revealed something they weren't supposed to, rather than
In
embellishing
fact,
that
the
as
whole movie looks like it's a cocaine-driven bullshit.
Yeah,
really.
it's not. This movie is not Blow. It's not Casino. It's not. It's not an epic.
Goodfellas.
It's not Goodfellas, and it's not any other film that has that same feeling. And so
And it has nothing to do with drugs, but yet
No.
you feel like it's so erratic and so
Right.
like
you're
jumpy.
getting swept up in the con, but the cons themselves were had a lot to be desired. I felt. I mean, just
They look unconvincing. That's
It
the
is.
thing. Robert De Niro looks at his eyes and he sees the fear.
yeah. And he's
right?
like,
He
"Yo,
knows you
yeah."
cannot trust this scumbag.
Yeah, he saw it through him right away, very quickly, and I felt like I really couldn't even believe that it wouldn't have been over at that point. Because I mean, it's not that hard to check people's credentials. It's not that hard. They're making it seem like impossible, which brings up another highly illogical point, which is why are the only people that are envoys to the sheik or sheikh why would they be an Italian and a Jewish person and everything except for other Arabs almost? Like I just to
Why
me,
would a Jewish person would be even near a sheik?
yeah,
That's
why,
not
why
a
would they be the
question.
envoy? And if anyone knew, and if this guy, if Robert De Niro's character knew, if he spoke Arabic, he would know that. He would know.
He know it 100%.
He would know that a real sheik would have other Arabs around him.
Another inconsistency in the character,
Yeah.
like in their character, was that okay, they're supposed to be hustlers, the best hustlers.
Right.
People who don't have any conscience, they don't care who they lie to, and who they betray. Yet for some reason they have this like feelings of guilt,
Right.
and the cop plays them against each other.
Right.
It's just
Unnecessary
like,
drama.
It's not a live person, It
Right.
doesn't make you either this or this. You can't just go all directions.
You know what? It
As
was
the same character.
the plot just felt like a multi-headed hydra going in every direction. I agree. It didn't had no focus. I mean, you had this idea that Bradley Cooper's character was relentlessly trying to get these politicians, but he'll never get the money, man. Right? That's the big point at the end. You didn't get any money, man. But and then at the end they just sort of make Cooper look like sort of a dope. He puts the dope face on, and he'll be forgotten from the story and written out of history. And I was like, okay, well, that's one way to look at.
First of all,
Justice.
he needs to be fired from police or from
sure,
FBI.
sure.
He,
Yeah.
he beats his boss.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He's high. He beats his boss
Yeah.
while being high.
Oh yeah, ridiculous. Yeah, right.
and
yeah.
he's still there.
Yeah, I know that was totally illogical.
Doesn't make any sense.
No, it's
Also,
ridiculous.
the character of Christian Bale. Once Robert De Niro knows for sure he worked with cops,
Yeah, exactly. Even a
and he says thank you.
yeah, right.
You
Even
know.
a suspicion of cops was enough to get you whacked back then. All right. I mean, it's not like it had to have
So
proof
he's
or
being
anything.
kidnapped
Yeah.
and released, and then he even gets a thank you from Robert De Niro.
It's all sort of
What
pathetic.
planet
though.
are you on?
It's sort of pathetic, and even the romance between Amy Adams and Christian Bale was just very lackluster, and it felt like this disgusting wrongness about it, like how they were underneath the clothes rack going around and around. It's like the least romantic thing I could imagine is being in someone's,
Giving her some clothes.
just
from
yeah,
other
giving her
people.
someone else's clothes who didn't come pick
Yeah,
them
have
up.
those old clothes that no one cares to pick up.
Yeah, right. How romantic. I don't know. It just tonally and everything. Just it wasn't romantic. It wasn't really a comedy. It wasn't really drama. It just tried to be everything at once, and it failed on every level.
And it's not even captivating as a thriller.
It is not. It's
You
not a
just
thriller.
watch, and it drags on.
And at the very end, they just sort of throw it in there. Oh, and then he conned him, and then you didn't get the money, and he gave the money back, and everything was as it was in the beginning. And it all just—it was like you woke up from a bad dream, and that's always a shitty story, all right, or a poorly told story, where the whole at the very end, everything is as it was in the beginning. I find those stories the least intriguing, the least thought-provoking, the least meaningful.
I remember when I saw it the first time, I thought maybe I didn't get something because it's so hyped.
That's what I thought too.
Maybe there's something
hype.
in there's some hidden smartness in this movie.
Right,
Something.
we were missing. Right, maybe
But
we were
when-
missing some dynamic, some aspect, and we didn't. We didn't miss anything. They just hyped us, and they sold a bill of goods that we did not get. We got conned. Part of the is that a conceptual thing? Maybe not really. That's not conceptual. That's just
To
business.
con the viewer.
That's just conning the viewer. That's just business. That's not. That is a con in a way. I guess you could call it a con. We got conned. We got conned,
And it is the true American hustle.
it is a true
To
American
shove
hustle.
bad movies down everyone's throat.
Oh yeah, well they shoved it down the wrong person's throat. I'm taking my tissues out and I'm going to give it right back.
So let's talk about our tissues.
Okay, sounds good. Would you like to begin?
Okay, so first tissue of course goes to the horrible contrived script, which doesn't make any sense in terms of the plot. The characters are very flawed and unrealistic.
Yes.
So the script
Script.
is a failure. One. The second tissue goes for the unconvincing acting job, which is really, I feel like, a fault of a director. and not the great actors who were involved in it. So that's the second one. Third one, directorial failure on all fronts.
So not just the acting.
Yeah, so the acting is a separate thing,
Okay.
but I'm talking about style choice, and the feel of the movie.
Right. The tone of the film. Yeah.
It just tries to pass as some kind of Scorsese copycat, and it fails miserably.
Yeah, I mean, I remember we were mentioning other films it felt like, and I forgot to mention Boogie Nights, which is another film I felt like it was copying. And but you're right. I remember mentioning when we talked about Boogie Nights a long time ago that it was also trying to sort of rip on Scorsese's style a bit, and I felt like this movie was an even paler imitation than Boogie Nights was of Scorsese. So I agree. I agree
And
completely.
at least Boogie Nights had its own thing about
It did.
porn industry and
It
all
had a
this
real purpose.
internal kitchen.
I at the end of that movie, I did not feel like I had just been part of a giant fugazi that didn't matter at the end of the day. I felt like it was actually taking me through a saga and a series of stories and people through time, not just 1 year, but many seasons.
And fourth issue soundtrack.
Yes,
Definitely
absolutely.
overused, too many songs, too many familiar songs, and the only purpose that I could see is, getting this 70s feel. That's the only purpose of all those songs.
Absolutely. They could have put on a rant. It felt they could have chosen random songs from the 70s that might have worked out better than this selection process. Completely a letdown on the musical front. I agree with you. So you have your four. You have four,
So
right?
I'll stop with 4 tissues.
4 out of 5 tissues, as we always have 5 each. Mine, 1 is for the total unoriginality of the music and the lack of a decent selection that added to the film. It didn't add any value. I felt the music was bad. A Horse with No Name, way too close to Breaking Bad's use of it, and a far superior use of it, I might add. So, they should have spent more time thinking about that and less time goofing off and having fun behind the scenes, it looked like. Christian Bale, I'm going to give him a little more of a stricter sort of slap on the wrist here for this performance because he should have known better. He should have done more research. He had the apparatus to do more research on his character, and he fell into cliche, and the director let him. So really, that's the director and the actor. That's 2 tissues, actor and director for me, and the music, which is another 1. And my 4th tissue is the use of the multi-year saga-like style of editing and filming, when really it was not a saga. It was 1 season, not many, so it shouldn't have had that feeling to it.
The epic.
The epic quality. It was not an epic. It was not many seasons. So that's 4. Music, director, actor, multi-year, and the screenplay is number 5. This is a 5-tissue film. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Terrible.
So 9 tissues in total.
This may be the biggest tissue offender we've seen yet.
And it's definitely the worst movie we've reviewed so far.
Yeah. Completely
Big
concur.
embarrassment for big names.
It is. It is an embarrassment for them all. And I guess they really had no choice at that point but to save their reputations by pitching this with big bucks to the Academy, which I heard, of course, you can buy off. Right?
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. You should see the story about Matt Damon and As Good as It Gets. There's a lot of food fighting over the legitimacy of the script. And anyway, we're getting off topic here with Much Better Films because of course we ought to be preferring talking
They
about
don't
excellent
deserve
films.
to be mentioned.
No,
together
as good as
with
it,
this
as good as it
drivel.
gets. No, of course, exactly. As Good as It Gets is an incredibly amazing film. As is Good Will Hunting. There's no reason to bring them up in this talk anyway. We're just getting antsy. We're getting angry. You can tell this. We've been conned. We're not happy, and not in a good way, and not in the way that they wanted us to be conned. So for that, they fail on by their own measurement. and by their own measure they failed. And so I think that's it. 5 tissues for me, 4 for Dimitri Katzman, and we are, I think, ready to say over and out for this episode. So that's all she wrote for today, you know. So here we are again. 9. That's a lot. Boom.
Maybe it didn't feel.
Do we have to do the toss over again?